go ahead.
We're really excited. Tomorrow is book club. We're going to be discussing Gary Vaynerchuk's Day Trading Attention. He was the keynote speaker for Social Media Con at Family Reunion, and gave us a lot to think about. So we can't wait to unpack it all tomorrow.
What was your biggest takeaway from Gary Vaynerchuk?
The biggest thing that really, I think we sort of refocused the mind was when he stood in front of the stage, like with his hair on fire, and he said, 51% of your time needs to be spent on content.
Making content, yeah.
Making content, deploying content, creating a schedule, like that, over half of your time needs to be doing that. That doesn't mean that doesn't include doing your, that should be merchandising, doing your job really well. So it's not exclusive to doing what you need to be doing. But this is the game we're in right now. So,
and then he said, most of us are probably wasting 51% of our time anyway, so just use that time to make up for it. He was really brutal. I'm shocked you even said anything. I thought you were going to say that's what tomorrow's for.
No, but there's some hard truths that he's trying to really put in our face, and it's time that we all come to grips with that. I'll bring out my swear jar tomorrow and talk about what that's going to be. There's a lot we can get into.
You never officially launched your swear jar.
It's happening tomorrow.
Great.
So Family Reunion was...
Oh, do we need people... Who just intends to kind of go to book club tomorrow?
Who's coming?
We're trying to get an idea how much lunch we need.
I want to order food.
How much money do I need?
You're not going to eat? Ramadan.
You're not eating... Oh.
No,
Okay.
It's not recorded. It's a live
I know.
experience.
We'll,
We're sorry you missed it.
Sidebar. So...
I got a feeling this conversation is going to go on for a while. We're just trying to get a interest level. Okay.
All right. Family Reunion, we had maybe the most attendees from any one market center. It was
certainly
awesome.
our size. Certainly
by percentage.
Yeah.
And there were amazing sessions. I learned a ton, and I wasn't able to stay for every day. But I came home with a notebook filled with notes. We really want to make sure that, like Holly was talking about this morning, that we take this momentum and carry it forward. So everyone who attended, who's here today, is going to come and give you their top 3 ahas. And we tried to kind of cover a lot of the big sessions that we attended. And that way we can kind of start conversations, and you can start to learn and follow these people. Because remember, if we're not writing notes, if we're not making action items from what we're learning, it's just entertainment.
And then on the side, if we're not making content out of it, we're wasting an opportunity. So what else are we doing here?
We have, Zoe's here, our marketing intern, who we love. And as people come up, we've asked them to prepare in advance. They're going to be videoed, and it can be... we'll share it with them, and you can deploy it however you like for your content. Up here on stage, being an expert. So we're going to kick it off.
So you've got to walk up. You can't just hang out.
Jeffrey and I are going to give you the stage. This is going to be in your background. Zoe, are you ready to go? We're going to step off.
We're trying to live by what we learned, everybody. We're trying to set the tone, the example right now.
First up is going to be James Howell, because he's got to go to his broker tour.
All right, James. Here. Don't trip.
Get your mic.
I got wires hidden.
Zoe,
Come
you
on.
want to come over here so you get the back?
Hola, MJ.
Oh, yeah, MJ in Chicago.
Look at MJ's
Mexico.
background.
Mexico.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no.
They had like 10 tacos yesterday.
Oh, Mexico.
Good morning, everyone. I was asked to do this morning, and I'm going to share what I brought back from it. There's 3 things that I learned, and it wasn't a specific speaker. It was just the entire thing, and even people I spoke to in between. But it's the 3 A's I came back with: accuracy, accountability, and acceleration. Those 3 things, because in the age that we're living in right now, is you've got to check everything that you're putting out there. If you're not, you may be putting stuff out there that you don't want, as well as incorrect, and it lives forever. So always keep that in mind, and always check AI. The amazing thing about AI coming is that it is going to constantly change. So you have to stay up on your own. And coming from not my age group, but an older person that didn't grow up with these things, it's a task that I put on myself that I have to learn something every day about AI. So you will see more of me on social media besides my puppy dog in my yard. I won't stop doing that because someone else said I could at the family reunion.
Keep going.
So the 3 A's is accuracy. Always know what you're putting out there to represent yourself in a way that you want to be represented. Accountability. Wake up in the morning, take 5 minutes for yourself, and just look at what your day is going to be. And then at the end of the day, take 7 minutes and see how your day turned out and what was great. Don't focus on the little hiccups and the little bumps and the mistakes that you feel that you made. If it didn't hurt anyone, you can fix things like that, and just be there for yourself. Acceleration, I think if you take the time to do these things for yourself of learning and being accountable to yourself, even if you don't have a teammate, I think acceleration is there for you because with the knowledge and the people around you in this office especially, you can get there. Because every time I go to family reunion, I learn something new about this office. Family reunion is not about Keller Williams. Family reunion is about me. You don't have to stay in the group. The best way to do it if you ever attend is to do it on your own. Meet up later for drinks or expensive tacos when you have a chance, But this is for you to absorb everything you can. I saw people taking full advantage of it, and I saw people that missed out on things, and it's just a shame because there were 10,000 people there. There were speakers that got the entire audience up and moving across based on your personality that you think you are. I went into Jetty, sorry. The last one.
Right,
but it was
just
an exciting experience. And I'm glad to share it with
Bring
you.
it home. Yay, James.
All right.
All right. Next up is going to be Holly.
Holly's got her 3 things and going to be snappy.
That's good. I know.
So everybody starts. So some keywords, okay, y'all. Relationships matter more than ever now. Authenticity, being who you are, is all you can be, and that is what everybody is looking for. They're looking for authenticity, real. Consistency. Just pick one thing and do it, and just keep doing it. And then opportunity. There are opportunities in all situations and circumstances. We just have to look for them and find the opportunity. And with that said, and as this day goes through, as I was writing this, I really thought about what we always talk about is consistent messaging. And one thing I realized in everything that I attended in Keller Williams, they were all these key words. And as you listen to everyone, you will be able to pull them out because another one is going to be about being strategic and strategy. And consistent messaging in all things is important. It just keeps reevaluating everything you say and everything you do, and it works. It absolutely works.
And you know what else works? Holly's weather reports online. We love them.
All right. Who's next?
All right, John Howe, come on up.
Oh, you got a mic. Go.
We'll get to comments. Hang on, David. Time. All right, here comes
hello. So I wanted to talk about Donald Miller. He was one of the speakers at the Social Media Con. So he's an author and CEO of a marketing company called StoryBrand. So his big thing was to make sure you use words with low cognitive load. And all that means is you don't have to basically say, I know all these big words. You need to speak at a level that people understand. They don't want to have to think about the words that you're describing to a process, if that makes sense. Because the words will win. That's what he said. So any process that you are explaining on your website, in your emails, boil it down to 3 items, because you can always expand that conversation later. I thought that was really amazing. And the biggest takeaway was when you are messaging people, provide a vision for what their life could look like if they work with you. But even beyond that, what their life might look like if they were to not work with you, and how that could negatively affect them. That's Donald Miller.
Jeffrey.
Oh, all right. Inspirational morning. So I used to not love inspirational morning. Not exactly my jam typically. A lot of feels in that room. However, I make myself go because it reminds me of a number of things about this company that are really interesting. First of all, the first guy that went up there, he said something that has rattled in my head since. I was using a table saw ripping boards, and I disrespected the saw. And I think about what things we do where we disrespect the process, or that I do where I disrespect the process. And for him, the result was getting pulled into the saw, getting his arm ripped open. He's in rural Montana and drove himself phone reception 2.5 hours in. They were like, stop, send an email. And he was like, nope, I got it. A higher power being within something else, however I believe it to be, thing. And that's just the one's always in control, right? There was not a dry eye, got going. There's not we have an 8-year-old. It could be that. And what all of our donations did was families closure on an awful thing. My last thing, which is if we were just a New Orleans company, we could never do this. We could never have that. We could never have that impact, right? It's the global. Oh, I didn't turn on. Shoot, I didn't turn on. It's the global. It's the global family we have. It's all these things we do that add up to really, really big things. And I think we can apply that to nonprofit work, and we can apply it to the way we work here as well, doing a small lease transaction for a client.
Jesse.
Hey, y'all. I had an amazing weekend. Easily one of the best weekends of my life, to be honest. I took away way more than 3 things. But the first thing that I got out of this weekend was just diving in to what makes you a little bit uncomfortable. I instantly hit it off with Biz right there, who sat behind me on the plane, and we connected, and she told me about KWYP, and I met another member at the airport. We talked the entire way to baggage claim, and from that moment, I kind of just really leaned in, and I was like, okay, this is going to be my thing this weekend. And I saw the Market Center, I think that first day for a couple hours, and then I ran into Biz, and she's like, oh, what are you doing for lunch? Like, you should come with us. And I did. And there was a moment when I was like, oh, well, I'm going to go meet up with my Market Center, and she was like, why? Like, you see them all the time. Like, this is what this is about, is making new connections. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're so right. Okay. And so I hung out with KWYP people all weekend. Yes, thank you. KWYP is Keller Williams Young Professionals. It is a large network of other young professionals killing it in the real estate industry. There's agents, but there's also lenders. There's people who aren't even in Keller Williams, but they're involved in this community, and it is just incredible. I didn't join until Saturday afternoon, but they already added me to the group chat, invited me to all the events, and already I have made so many connections, which goes into my second point, which is the power of a referral network. I have met so many amazing people, not only that I already call friends, but that I know I can trust and connect other people to when they move elsewhere, and that I know are going to send me business as well. And so when there was the opportunity to join this community, it was a no-brainer because I've already gotten so much out of it in literally 3 days. So I'm really excited to see just how my relationships grow from that. Let's see. And also just a community of young professionals is something I feel like I have been missing a little bit here in New Orleans. There's not a KWYP chapter here in New Orleans, so I'm really excited to start that. And going back to point one, I'm just diving in this year. I'm owning this. I'm owning my future. I'm owning my business. And so just watch out because I've got lots of plans. Thank you. And then my last thing that Biz just actually wrote down, and I was like, yeah, I need to talk about this, is grace for ourselves, for others, for just everything. And Keller Williams always talks about failing forward. And it's okay to make mistakes, not to know everything. There's no way we're ever going to know everything. But as soon as we realize that and just move on and learn from it, the quicker we're going to grow. And Biz saying things to me like, you see them all the time. I was instantly like, yeah, you're right. And so sometimes I just needed to be told that. And when Jay Shetty talked, that's his name, right? Okay. There was a moment where he told us to like move to the other side of the room. And I was like, this is weird. I don't know if I want to do this. And I looked at the guy next to me who's a KWYP member. And I was like looking up uncertain. And he was just like, just do it. And I was like, you're right. And so I did. And it was just having a little bit of a push from others and like leaning into that discomfort a little bit is when you grow, and having grace for ourselves and yeah, learning from everything. So I had an amazing, amazing weekend that I'll never forget. And yeah, thank you.
Oh, Jesse.
If you can't tell by the fact that I lost my voice.
You're next.
Watching her run around so bubbly through this whole event brought joy to all of us.
Yes. Ken.
Who's next? You got this.
All right, here we go. God dog it. All right, so I will tell you that this event for me was super impactful. For me, and I think I go back to what James said, my age group with this AI thing has been a little bit of a struggle, but I have put a lot of effort into it. But a lot of the conference really was circled around that, which we knew it would be. But just some of the things that I took away from, first of all, the speakers were phenomenal. They really were. I mean, Jay was a little out of character for a speaker at KW because he had every F syllable in his language. But Gary V. I'm sorry, Gary V. But if you just listen to his message and kind of blocked out his colorful words, he had some powerful things that I took from, and I took something from all of them. One of the things that he said was, "Don't let fear shape your dreams." So that was one of them. And then he put, no self-doubt, but how do you show up? And I was like, that's pretty interesting. Let me answer that. And so probably one of the things that I put 5 stars next to from the next speaker that came out, which, by the way, we did get a book from him, and I'm happy to share mine with you. But he said, "Don't leave you do." And I'm like, that's interesting. And that's what he said. He said, "This is what you say instead. I help families acquire wealth and dreams. I am a real estate advisor." And I highlighted that with my thing because I'm like, people with dreams, and it's like, don't just say you're a real estate agent. Like, okay. Some of the other things, Gary Vee said, social media is free. It doesn't cost you anything. If you go back to the previous speaker, he was like, he's helping all these Fortune 500 companies, and he's making bazillions of dollars. I think he was flying to India or something that day. And then let's see. This was super impactful for me. Jay Shetty. He said, "Take 5 minutes and make an appointment with yourself in the morning and talk and just go over your start of the day and what you want to accomplish. And then at the end of the day, you make a 5-minute meeting with yourself and talk about what went well and what you need to do." I'm sorry. First one was make a 5-minute appointment with yourself about how to make it a great day. What do you need to do to accomplish to make it a great day? And it doesn't have to just be real estate. But at the end of the day, what went right? What could you have done differently? And I'm like, that's really a great way to kind of think about your day. Because me personally, I have to keep a notepad next to my bed because a lot of times I can't sleep and I have to write it down. But writing it down before I go to bed, I think is going to be a great way to do it. And so that was also impactful. But the one class that I did get a lot out of, Jason Abrams did a breakout, and it was called AI Unlocked. And it's about what it is, what should it do, and where do I start? And so they had 15 hacks of the best things to do to start. And they did a lot of visual. It was absolutely freezing cold in this room. When I tell you this was like a meat locker, it was truly a meat locker. People were shivering and you could hear the teeth, but they got through it. And so I've got the slides, but I will also tell you that I don't know if anybody gets Mike's notes. He attends every year, but he's a great note taker. So I have access to his things, and I'm actually kind of compiling it, and I'll put it into a Google Doc and make it available for anybody who wants it, because I do think it's just, for me, this gives me an opportunity to go back and kind of just take it all in now that I've done it. But for anybody that didn't go there, I think that certainly it could be helpful to you. And I will tell you that they're coming to New Orleans in 2028. And that's all I got. Thank you.
So Ken, when you were talking about Gary Vee with social media, I thought it was real. Is that what you're getting ready to cover?
We're going to get into Gary.
About it being free for now?
All Gary. We'll get into all that tomorrow.
Okay.
That's a good teaser.
There you go. There's your teaser for tomorrow.
I'm going to talk about Will Guidara, who spoke. He was the first speaker at CEO Summit, and I've loved him for many years. I've followed him. This was a book club selection last year, and so we were delighted that he was chosen to be one of the speakers. The 3 things that really resonate with me in particular, and the thing that really lives in my heart and I think about all the time that was crystallized for me when I read this book is the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Every single time I'm in a rush or I'm doing something I don't like or whatever. And if there's ever a moment where I'm tempted to cut a corner, I always think about that. And I'm like, no, we have to do it the right way. And that tone it's something that I come back to. It's a touchstone for me. The second thing he talked about, and he talked at length, was that we really should interrogate the customer journey, the journey of our clients, and how we lead them through this process, and create moments of magic and ways to make the experience enjoyable and memorable, and something that they will remember and have that connection with you and think of you in a positive way as someone who has over-delivered for them. He spoke in particular about a real estate agent he worked with personally, and he did a bunch of transactions, and he said every time we did a closing, the agent would bring us a bottle of sparkling wine. And he said, yes, sparkling wine, not champagne. I mean, he knows me. He knows I'm in the hospitality business. I run the #1 restaurant in the world, and he would bring me a bottle of sparkling wine. And he said it was fine, but it was very like, this is just the cookie cutter. This is what I do when I have a closing. And so he said, my book came out, and he read it, and we bought a new apartment. The closing happened, and no bottle of sparkling wine, nothing. And he was like, the sparkling wine wasn't great, but this is worse. And so he said, my wife and I get in the apartment, and we open the refrigerator, and the refrigerator was stocked with all of the things that we use every day. And so he's like, how did he figure this out? Well, when he was touring people through their old property that he was listing, he had his assistant take pictures of the refrigerator several times through that process, cataloged it, went and got all the things, had the refrigerator stocked ready to go. So when they walked in the door, it was all of their personal, things that they use and love. And so that's not something that everyone needs to do in particular. You don't have to start taking pictures of refrigerators. But trying to do, put some real thought behind how you're showing up for people and reflecting that you care, you what they care about, and reflect that back. And the last thing, it's more on that theme, but it's a good way to think about it, is one size fits one. What you do for one client is not what's going to work for another client. Some people love to communicate by text. Some people need a phone call. Some people need an email. Some people are, if someone gave me a cheese of the month club, I'm lactose intolerant. Like, that's not going to be great. But there's a lot of people that would think that was, the most thoughtful and best thing in the world. Finding ways that are not scalable, but are appropriate and personal to the people in your life, creating moments of magic is, will bring you business, repeat business, create people who will be with you for life, and encourage other people to use you. And I think it's something that we can all challenge ourselves to find ways to create magic. Everyone needs more, love and kindness. So Will Guidara, if you didn't read this book for book club, I highly recommend picking it up, read it, listen to one of the 8 million podcasts he's been on. He's amazing. So with that, I want to pass the mic to Philip Eubank.
Thank you, Lauren. That was easily my favorite book from last year as well. Absolutely loved it, and that was a great talk. Choosing which one to pick was really challenging. I think everybody picked just incredible ones that made a huge impact on me this weekend as well. So the one that I picked, though, I went into Family Reunion. I talked to my coach, and he said, what if you – and I said, hey, I don't really know what breakouts I want to do. And he said, well, what's your number one problem in your business right now? I said, I don't have enough listings, and my listings I have, I don't have under contract. And he said, okay, well, what if you just did breakouts on that? And so I just went to listings, breakouts on listings. And the ones I picked had the most boring titles ever. And it was some of the most intense, amazing speakers. So the speaker for this one, it was Pricing in a Shifting Market, Rob Smith, Sarah Reynolds, and Seychelle Van Poel. And I didn't even recognize their names at first, and I realized, like, holy smokes, they're on the podcast that I listen to all the time. But this one was really impressive to me because it just gave some insights on what these people are doing. Because their first thing was, I don't like active listings. I want pending listings. I do not want any active listings. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. Say more. And something that is really important is that sellers are reacting to very outdated information. And they went deeper on this. So the media gets their information from something called the Case-Shiller Index, which is information that's almost 6 months old. And the MLS, now every now and then they'll interview real estate agents, but the MLS is obviously providing us very active information. So we are always about 90 days ahead of the news. But there's a disadvantage if we're not strong going into these listing appointments. If we can walk in there with the authority that we know what we're talking about, and we can walk into there going authority that we know this market very well and can provide the active, the pending data, which the media does not have. They just don't have that information readily available. We can provide a sense of certainty, authority, and then, of course, pending listings. That is what our clients need and want. So, I mean, if you need an article talking about why the media is wrong about real estate, that's going to be a cool blog to write, right? That'd be a cool video to do. Pricing is a strategy. It's not a verdict. So they're saying, look, we do not just walk in and announce a price. We're there to educate and then come to a price together. And I thought that was really, really important. I mean, a lot of this may sound like common sense, but it's just not very common, not really what we're doing. By declaring a price, you're opening yourself up to be right or wrong. But by educating and guiding and forming this to be, hey, we're a team, you, Mr. Seller, and myself, we're a team against the market, as opposed to I know the market and I'm always right, provides this sense of, okay, I'm going to continue to listen to this real estate advisor, and it looks like my house isn't pending right now. They know a lot about real estate. They're showing me real life stats. They're updating me constantly. All right, it must be the price. It has to be the price. Let's lower that price. And then third was winning pricing conversations. And so this was about the listing presentation. And really, we need to be bringing net sheets. We need to be knowing what on earth these people have. Do they have a mortgage? Do they have liens? We need to know these things so we can be as precise as possible to help our clients in the most fiduciary, responsible way. Many sellers are overestimating, of course, how much $25,000 to $55,000 affects their net. And if we provide that net sheet, all of a sudden $25,000 off the price they have isn't as painful as they thought. Right? And so if we're showing net proceeds, the conversations about commissions, the conversations about the offering price can be so much easier. And last, they told a story about a $4 million listing. So one of the agents works out in Dallas, and the listing was valued at $4 million. They put it on the market, and they got a contract right away. The inspections found that there were problems with it's about a 7,000 square foot home, and when a 7,000 square foot home, there's more than one air conditioner, more than one water heater, right? It's all these things. And there was problems with all the systems. And it turned out to be $200,000 worth of repairs. And the seller said, well, no, we're not doing that. It's a $4 million home. You get it, you take it. They said no. Eventually, they didn't receive another offer. It expired. They went with another agent. Finally, about 3 years later, it sold for $2.7 million. And so not educating our clients in a responsible manner is going to cost them money, right? So it's very, very expensive. So this one was phenomenal. Again, it was all these boring breakout titles that just had phenomenal information. So I'm excited to continue to share this stuff. Thanks.
Those are great. Loebman.
So, family reunion was awesome. One takeaway that I get every time I go is that there are so many ways to make money in this industry, real estate wise, investing, being an agent. Really, you just got to focus, commit to something, and stay on your path. But I got Jay Shetty, and Jay was awesome. He's a podcaster. I think he has over 1 billion episode downloads for his podcast. He's done Matthew McConaughey, Oprah, tons of famous people. And one of my biggest and boldest notes from him was that the skills and mindset that got us here are not the skills and mindset that are going to get us to where we need to go in the future. And he told a story about the raft in a forest. And so there was a guy that needed to cross a river, and so he built a raft, couldn't go by foot, so he built a raft and got across, and he's like, I am forever grateful for this raft, so I need to carry it with me. Then he got to a forest, and the raft couldn't make it through the forest, so he had to let go of the raft in order to get up to where he needed to go. Then he moved into mindsets, and to move out of to move out of scarcity and fearful mindset, his were have a mindset of thankfulness. You can't have a thankful, you can't be thankful for stuff and also have an anxious mind. He also talked about having an insight and learning mindset. It doesn't have to be a book to learn. You can do podcasts, classes, whatever is your thing. Just make sure you're learning based. And he also, to really make it full circle, learning is what kind of slows your mind down. So if you feel like you're in the rat race and everything like that, being learning based, learning something new, having a new experience will soak into your mind and it'll kind of slow time down for you. And then he also talked about mindfulness, which I think Ken already talked about. But in the morning, what's the one thing that I need to do to make this day a success? And then at the end of the day, what did I do that went right? And he said, don't, especially make sure that you're talking about the positive things as opposed to, what did I get wrong today? What did I mess up or anything like that? Make sure that you're focusing on what did you do right, and then again, how to make your day a success. And that was Jay.
Great. Pilar.
Thank you. Like everyone else has said, it was wonderful. It was my first time, and I got so much out of it. And one of the things that did shift for me, there were many things, was this piece here, like this whole social media. It was on the agenda at some point, but it became like imminent, like I have to get this done. And that 51%, which is kind of going to go contrary to what I'm going to talk about, is, but it's important, making it important. And so this was really good, and I literally switched up what I was, one of the breakouts to this. I went to batch your marketing in 1 hour or less, because this had the overview, and I wanted to drill down, like, okay, I'm pumped, what do I do next? And so I have some 3 key takeaways, but everything was consistent, like you were saying, Holly, like there was just consistent messaging throughout. So the first was time blocking, which we all know what we do with our lead gen. And so the most important thing he was saying is to time block. He said, take about an hour a month. Once again, goes contrary to that 51%, but whatever is what works for you. If it's 2 hours, 3 hours, but be consistent. That was the most thing. And some quotes that he had was, consistency beats perfection, systems beat inspiration, and reputation is based on repetition. So I thought that was really neat, because I think some of us are feeling that this is new, it may not be perfect. I know I feel this way, but if we just get it out there, we're going to continue to get better, and we're consistent. The second piece that they talked about was select your niche and add value. So one of the things that Gary was talking about is eventually, how do we distinguish ourselves from folks going online? It's adding value. And he said, first start with selecting your niche. And once you do that, then add value to them. And that's how you create your content around it. And he talks about and I'll talk about this next, is finding solutions to your niche's problems. And once again, creating content. And that's where AI comes in. So your AI partner will come in and simplify. They say, go to AI, tell them who your niche is, what your role is, tell them what you're trying to do, ask them what their problems are. And from there, as you get the information, create content, and it could be around themes. It could be thematic, like Marketing Mondays or Testimonial Tuesdays, but be consistent in that. The other thing, it was sponsored by Canva. So, it was heavy on the Canva, which was great because, once again, where do I start? And they said Canva has some really great, it can help you with all this. You can do your design, video, sharing, scheduling, because that's part of, like, if you're doing this once a month, you can actually schedule it for the month of when it gets distributed. So I probably will, where's John? I'm going to be watching. I went to Canva to talk to them, and I was like, okay, where do I start? And they were very helpful, and I will get started, but I will probably go to you because that made me excited because I knew there's a starting point. I just didn't feel like I was out there floating. So that was that. So this is the more, the things that we implement. So that was very helpful. The second thing I just wanted to talk about was for those who weren't there, there's an exhibit hall, and there was this amphitheater where they were running these sessions, like 20-minute sessions, and really good content for everybody. But they said that they're going to put that online and that we would be able to access it. So I guess they'll let us know when they do that. And so for those who didn't go, or even for our market center, that we can watch that together. So that was helpful. So there you
Great,
go.
thank you. Tina. Oh my gosh. That's it. You're next. You look great, Tina.
Okay, I told Laura we'll talk about one thing, and we'll talk about that, but talk about other things as well.
That's why I texted you. No, I know. I'm kidding.
Unreasonable hospitality, Will Guidera. Probably the best thing I witnessed. He is a front of the house restaurant person. I think it is.
Need another one?
When it fell.
Use the other one.
Is
There
that
you go.
better?
Yes.
Okay. Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidera. He is a front of the house person. He knew the food wasn't the problem in his restaurant, it was the touches. So he went through every single touch. What do I do to make it better? And what you talked on about the refrigerator was one thing, but we all, when we go to a restaurant, hate a frickin' bill. So what do they do after you had this beautiful meal? They walk up to you with a bottle of cognac and 4 glasses or 6 glasses and say, hey, thank you so much for being here. Here's some cognac. Y'all enjoy this. Take your time, and here's your bill. And they leave. Nobody is thinking about the bill anymore. They're thinking about, like, going, Jesus Christ. We were finished our meal. We don't want anything else, and they're giving us more. And I just thought that was a great way to realize, how can we reframe everything that we do to make our job better? So I, of course, did not read Unreasonable Hospitality, but I will be. Secondly, Gary Vaynerchuk. He dropped more F-bombs in his talk alone than all of the family reunions in the history of family reunions. People were appalled. What I took from him is, no matter who you are, you can be successful. Be who you are and help that propel you to your success. But we'll talk about that tomorrow, too. What I was going to talk about, which I watched with Philip Eubanks, was about listings. And there was this one guy named Will Van Winkler. I think all y'all in this room know that I like a good-looking man. This was like a 26-year-old kid, tall, looked very Nordic, good-looking. And how he built his business is through the Golden Letter. Most of y'all also know that I think the Golden Letter is the worst name for a letter. I just think it's horrible. But what he does is and it's in the one thing, or MERA, it's a, what's that? Playbook. It's a golden letter that just basically says, hey, my name is Will Van Winkle. I have a person that might be interested in your house. If you're interested in learning more, give me a call. And he put his phone number. Well, before Family Reunion, I was trying to send out a letter, and I was worried about my logo. I was worried about the colors. I was worried about my picture. I was worried about this. I was worried about that. I didn't send it out. So anyway, I ran into him the next day, and I was like, where can I get a copy of that letter? And he said, it's in the playbook. And I said, you don't have anything on it except, he goes, I don't have my logo on it. I don't have my face on it. I literally just say, I have somebody interested in your property, or maybe interested in your property. Give me a call. Now, he did say he does it at length. He sends out 500 a week to all of his markets, and he sends it out to each address once a year. he's just executing. And we struggle with executing. I struggle with executing. Just execute. There was one speaker who talked about words. It was the woman who we didn't like her, but we liked her. She was at the CE. No, we didn't like her. She was at the CE Summit.
Jenny Wood.
Jenny Wood. She had great content, but just not good delivery. I can't imagine anybody else like that.
She's emerging.
She's emerging, but she used words like audacious and reckless. And we think of words like that as bad, but be reckless. Like, don't be afraid to say what you want to say. She actually was very good. Yeah. And then, like, everybody, but just her delivery was horrible. But, like we all, I think, who have gotten up here, I think the biggest thing we've all taken away from this is that we have to take care of ourselves. But Jay Shetty did say, take care of yourself. And that's just by getting up in the morning, taking those 5 minutes. At the end of the day, taking 10 minutes. We have to take care of ourselves to be successful. And we forget about that. So if you do get the opportunity to go to family reunion or any other training, do that. And Jesse, you are right. It's a great place to meet people. But it's also a great place to reconnect with people that you don't know. We have fallen in love, and if you're watching, I don't know if you are, we have fallen in love with Kimberly and Michael, who we don't see often. So get to know your people you work with, too.
Todd, last but not least. Todd. The OG. Todd, how many family reunions have you been to?
Probably 12.
That's rude to ask a man. Never ask a man how many family reunions.
We'll talk about Todd's family reunion stories another time.
So this year was a little different. Talked to Jeffrey about it a little bit. It was different than the rest of them. A lot of social media. I'm not a social media guy. So my story is walked in a little late to the Gary V, and 30 seconds later I walked out. Back to the convention. I said, I'm just not going to listen to this guy. He's terrible. And I'm just going to go grab lunch. So I said, well, maybe I should go back in, which was the best idea I had. I did go back in, and what I learned was it's not all about social media and posting and blah, 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 blah. It's visibility. That's the number one word that I learned, visibility. And then I thought about what it takes to get back to getting excited about working with people and getting out there. So I think that the number one thing I learned from one of the other speakers was start. Like, you got to start. You got to go back to day one. Day one is, you got your real estate license, you go knock at somebody's door, you get a listing, you be dual agent, make $1 gazillion the first month, and that's what gets me excited. And you're helping people. But how do you do that? Well, my 3 ways is leverage, using AI and different things like that. Using people, using your sphere, using people that you work with all the time, other agents. The other thing is database. Database, you manage your database. You feed it. You just keep going. Yesterday, when I came back from family reunion, I said, well, I'm just going to go and text some past clients and see what happens. Every single one texted me back. Every single one. So I was like, oh, wow. I should have been doing this a long time.
That's great.
Number 3 is have a plan and execute that plan. You got to be consistent, like Holly said, but execute it and do it. So back to visibility. Visibility builds credibility. And credibility builds business. And that's what I took from it, and I learn things every time I go. Thank you.
That's big. I think we need to repeat that. Visibility builds credibility. Credibility builds business. That was the perfect way to end, and I think we can all put that on a bumper sticker and come back to that.
Yeah.
Listening to you all, I learned a lot again. I have 2 questions. What's coming to me is, should we have another class on Canva? How many people would be interested in more Canva classes? Okay. And what about
Canva's not just a fad?
I am really into it.
I can tell. I was trying to go to sleep last night, and you were all canvaing. Getting your Canva all over our
I used to be an Adobe girl, but Canva really makes it easy for you. And then second, who would be interested in a class to help using some AI tools to work on your business plan? Okay. All right. I think those are things we want to prioritize, and Cammie's going to help us with the business plan. We're working on some more support for your social media posts and graphics, videography. More on that hopefully to come.
Something that, to kind of put a bow on it for all of you, is the person who was running Inspirational Morning yesterday was Dana Gentry, who owns a real estate office, who's a second-generation OP, who's now an author with a top 10 book on the USA Today list. I don't know where it falls on the paper of record, but anyway, not important. What was reminded to me was how any of us can be anywhere inside of this huge company anytime we want. And I was lucky enough to be on a panel yesterday, and they talked about the opportunity map. And a bunch of you came, and thank you. It was very kind. But Nichelle was in there, and when the opportunity map came up, she looked at me. She gave me this look from the audience like, where the hell has this thing been? So I want to fix that. Any one of you, any one of us can be anywhere inside of Keller Williams whenever you decide that's what you want. And it's not just about I can't own another office, or I can't, there's lots of things to do. There's other offices that are, they're working on opening offices. If those are things you're interested in, first of all, tell us you're looking for bigger opportunity. Second of all, what is it? These are just some of them. So it's a good reminder that this is a huge company with a ton of opportunity, and maybe we don't talk about it enough, so I apologize.